Hello guys, this is a pre-market analysis of 27th of April and we have multiple things to look out for and the market is looking slightly complex for today. So let's analyze everything. First, we have to look at mixed corporate result, especially Reliance and Axis Bank we need to discuss. So I'll discuss that in detail, but I won't be going segment wise when it comes to Reliance. I'll give you a quick overall idea. And then the US markets have closed positive, but there are some geopolitical twists also that again I'll be discussing. FIIs are continuously selling, and technically also, if you see the structure is looking weak. Last day we have seen that breaking of 24,000 and 23,800 levels also, but you managed to close about 23,900, which is positive sign. So today, let me tell you what is important first. We may get a gap up opening, right? Because of US market close and other this results and everything. We may get 150 to 180 point gap up opening, but that I'm expecting will get solved into. Okay. So today's market, though it's a gap up opening, I'm not saying immediately you have to sell. Once you start finding a weakness, that's an opportunity to sell the market. So I'm not going to chase this rally on the upside, nor I'm going to wait for a pullback to buy. I'm looking to sell the market, and that could be my first trade. So what I'll do is, if I find a weakness at the top, I'm going to sell the market, right? So it's a sell on rise is what my plan for today. Now let's discuss the technical aspect. Means when I say technical here means I'm looking to discuss this results. Okay, so let's analyze that, and then we'll look at the FIIs, DIIs, ADRs, other technicals, and the support resistance level, open interest data, and everything I'll be discussing. So maybe 10 minutes we can cover that. But I have told my perspective because many of you don't want to watch till the end. So the idea is to sell if you get that good move. And when you see the weakness also. So what is very important is this Reliance result, because that alone can influence Nifty, of course, one of the major heavyweight, and overall market sentiment also, because if Reliance is going on one side, I don't think the others will also go completely against it. So overall market sentiment also will be connected to that. So performance is very good. If you look at the result, revenues up 11%, quarter to quarter, 2.9 lakh crore. Estimate was 2.8 lakh crore. So, which is beating the estimate, right? So, you have a strong revenue. Analyst expectation is also beating, and that means it is very strongly positive. Now, profitability is a major concern. If you see EBITDA, which is 44,150 crore, which is minus 4% quarter to quarter. Yes, it was expected to be 47,350. So that's a major concern, EBITDA. And margins also fell from 17.4 to 15%. That is a decline of 240 basis point, which is also a concern. So if you look at revenue, that side it is good. And if you look at net profit also, that side is good. But again, net profit has came down in terms of percentage. If you see the percentage changes -9. So 16,970 crore, that is a net profit, which is -9 compared to last revenue. So the last quarter to quarter, right? This quarter, if you see. So, but still it's in line with the expectation. So since it is in line with the expectation, not much a big impact. But if you see, there are positives that already have discussed, the increase in revenue and other things. Segment wise, if I need to discuss, that will be taking too much of time, and we don't want to get into that. But yeah, if even just I want to discuss about Geo. There is a dividend of 6 rupee per share. So summary, if I want to give you, revenue is looking strong, but margin is weak. And energy, if you see, that is weak. Geo plus retail is actually supporting Reliance. Okay. So Geo 6 rupee is the dividend also. So that's why I told you this can impact a gap up, but how the market will react to that, if you find a weakness at the top, that may be used to sell the market, right? Again, Axis Bank result. There is a profit of 7,770 crore, 7,000 crore, 7,770 crore, and 9% up quarter to quarter. Estimate was 6,950, which is beating the analyst expectation, which is very good. But there is a problem here. See, out of this profit, right, almost 2,200 crore, that is tax right back, return, right? So that means the core performance is not that strong. Though on paper you see this kind of profit and a 9% increase, but that's because of the return also. Now, other than that, asset quality is better. Gross NPA, if you see, 1.23%. It was 1.4% that came down, which is very good. Net NPA, if you see 0.37, which is also decent. So asset quality is looking positive. Right. Again, if I want to discuss about credit growth, increased 19% year on year, which is good. Deposits also increased 14%. CASA is 40%. Here, the concern is, I told you already, that 2000 crore, right? So that actually creates suspicion among the investors also. So a dividend, if you see 1 rupee per share. So profit is beating analyst expectation. That is good. That is something which you can consider positive, but it's not clean. I told you the reason also. Growth is looking strong, asset quality is improving, but cautious undertone here also. So because of these two positive results, you may get a gap up, but both are like in a cautious stand. So FII is what they are going to do. They're not sure. So it may get sold into. So that is the reason why I told you if I get a good gap up and if I find a weakness, that I'll be interested to sell the market. Now let's look at US market. There is a positive close. S&P is 0.8%, Nasdaq 1.6% up. Dow Jones marginally, it's flat only 0.2 minus. Right, the reason is again tech earnings and semiconductor rally, Intel, Texas Instruments. So there is a good rally. So now if you look at GIFT Nifty, which is around 134, if you equate it with the spot, right? So that is 23,900 level. So we may get 150 to 180 point gap up. I'm looking and I'm adjusting this liquidity aspect also. So I'm expecting that 150 point, but still, it can be very close to that. GIFT Nifty and R Nifty, the underlying is same, but liquidity wise, there will be difference. So that may get reflected. Otherwise, we get a gap up, see what is happening at the top. If you find a weakness, use that opportunity to sell. If you get a strong candle, no need to go against it, but don't chase the rally. That's how you should be trading. So if you would like to trade with us in the live market, we have the live market mentoring session. You can get in touch with us and you can trade with us also so that you won't make such mistakes. Okay, in the live market, you won't make mistakes. Now, weekend developments, what happened? So Trump have cancelled the Pakistan trip for the Iran talks. So Iran leadership, what they are saying is Iran leadership is confused. Now, if they want, they can call. So narratives are changing. Now we are not much concerned about this, what is actually happening. Anyway, ceasefire is there. No further development after that. So the narrative is now again, there was some peace for quite some time. Now again coming back to uncertainty. So now if you see US futures is trading slightly negative. So that is why the impact gap up may slightly reduce. Still, if you get a gap up, that may get solved into because this uncertainty part is there because of Trump shift and result, though it is looking good on the paper, but still it is very cautious according to me. If you look at Indian ADRs, it's mixed. HDFC is slightly positive, ICICI is neutral. Infosys is -7%, ADR is minus. If you see, Wipro, I think is -6%. So, sorry, Wipro is looking positive. Wipro ADR is positive. Infosys is negative. So it's mixed, right? One is positive, the other is negative. I think IT fall is already overdone in Indian market. So there could be a recovery. Technical bounce is possible from the lower level. A short covering bounce is possible. So IT, it's overdone. I think it's oversold. So there may be a technical bounce that is possible. Again, if you look at institutional data, last day FIA sold heavy 9,000 crores. You saw the market is like one-way fall, and DIS bought almost half, 4,700. It was not able to support completely FIA selling. Aggressive selling is continuing by FIAs. And if you look at last day, calls added 20%, puts added 5.6%. So put call ratio have came down from 9.92 to 0.81, which is looking very bearish, right? If not very bearish, bias is bearish. Participant wise, if you see clients, retailers 18% bullish, FIIs 12.5% bearish, and prop traders 4.4% bearish. So that's the same pattern that we see for quite some time, that retailers are bullish and smart money is cautious to bearish. Now, there are some events to look out for today, but leave that. If you see technically, last day opened 70-point gap down, but you got a close below 24,000. It went to 23,800 at one point and then came and gave a close above 23,900. So a strong red candle, kind of lower high formation. So that's the third consecutive session. And the structure, if you see now, it is going below short-term and medium-term moving averages. RSI also kind of a bearish crossover. It's now around 49. Now, immediate resistance is 24,000, but I'm expecting market will open above that and then it gets solved into 24,000, 24,200. These are important levels. Support will be at 23,800, 23,700. Below that, 23,500. So 23,500 to 24,500 is the range that we are looking for this expiry and for the next week also. Bank Nifty, it looks like 56,500, 56,600 area is the resistance and support is 55,000, 55,400 level. Open interest, maximum call OI is at 24,500. That's why I took that range till 24,500, right? And then put side is 24,000 and that is also kept shifting to 23,800, 23,500 level. So 23,500 to 24,500 is the range. But still, if you get a gap up and if it is sustaining above 24,000, we may get a range between 24,000 to 24,500 because these puts will be shifting to 24,000, then 24,100 that way also. So overall, Reliance result, if you see mixed to weak, margin pressure is there, though it looks positive. So that impact will be there in gap up. Axis also, it's not a clean beat. So I'm very cautious with these two results, though in paper it looks profit in both the side, but it's not clean in case of Axis. I've told you the reason, and margins are very weak when it comes to Reliance. So you may see that it may get solved into, it can drag Nifty, it can drag the other stocks also, the sentiment also, overall sentiment also. US markets positive, that's a tech-led rally. We may see a relief in the IT sector today, but Trump uncertainty is back. So I told you my point, that is my case. I'm going to sell the market if I get a weakness at the opening. Means either I sell a call or I short on future or I'll be buying a put. But first two is very good. Last two is the worst option. Means if you don't have capital, that's the only thing that you can do. So gap up is possible, but sustainability is the question. So keep a watch on weakness. When you start seeing that, short the market. See you guys.